on your sort of personal life, or because it seems to be a huge insurmountable task. And is it a case that would put a lot of people off, or would they just say, look here, that's the nature of it, it's rotten, it's corrupt, and just get on with it? I'm not saying that's the case, and I admire, it's not easy to swim against the tide, and it's a thankless task. And both of you, I think, are very, very courageous people, and have done an awful lot of, good work. And without it, I have no doubt that, things would be a lot worse. And what the people who are at this type of stuff want is for the silence people like yourselves. I commend the gathering. I think it's great. I've been at a couple of the meetings, and that sense of solidarity and people getting together. But is it, does it take a task on your personal, on you as a person, and is it frustrating?
Okay, well, first of all, I'd like to start that question by saying that I won't be getting into personal details of my own, because that'll be for a future event. I'm not the only whistleblower in Causeway Coast and Glens. I commend the staff who are involved in whistleblowing, particularly around VAT issues and stuff. And I commend another councillor, another independent councillor, who was very much to the fore in whistleblowing. Now, she left the council, and I left the council. And we didn't leave because we thought it was a good idea to retire. We left because the place was we couldn't survive in there anymore. The pressure that's put in the whistleblower is unrelenting. It goes from the simplest things, when you're asking about your job, about information to do your job, about a constituent who's contacted you so that you can provide a service for them. You're asking for that information. You draw a blank from the minute you become a whistleblower.
They make it awkward for you.
They make it impossible. They don't make it awkward. There's also significant other things that take place when you're a whistleblower and you're earmarked as whistleblower. Now there's a flip side to that as well. I've seen some whistleblowers, or some people, they're raising concerns, it's called now in the council, but I've seen some others who have quietly been promoted and moved onwards and helped out, and they've gone silent. So that's all because the people with the power to do that are the people that have been whistleblowed on. So there's ways and means to get round whistleblowing as well. But if you stick to your guns and you go hard at it, you'll pay a very heavy price for it. Is it worth it? I think if you asked anybody about our council in Causeway Coast and Glens at the minute, they'll say, yeah, there's something wrong there. And that was worth it. Absolutely was worth it. But did it bring out all the changes that should have accompanied? No, it didn't. And
it's work in progress.
It's still a work in progress, but it didn't bring about them changes. Like if you imagine this is 5 years, we're getting into our 6th year now, but this is 5 years in the go, and the same people are still in the same positions of power and influence, and it didn't bring about the desire that protects the public purse.
Seriously undermined and weakened. Like, their name's dirt. I may get sued for that, but it's a reality. I don't mind. Their name is dirt. It's rotten. It's like something you would see in El Paso. That's the perception. Yeah. And if it's not like that, then they can come out and say that it's not. But if it wasn't for people like yourself, Paddy, and others, then this would be just plundering on and stumbling on as if there was nothing wrong. It has been branded. Now, it's up to where it goes from here, but I would see it very much as work in progress rather than that's the end of it.
I think it's not about the personalities. The personalities, every individual's a personality themselves, so you take that as they come to you, but it's about the system, and the system allowing this to take place, where it's elected officials or where it's incompetency at the public bodies that's supposed to hold these systems to account. And I think that's the focus of our energy, and should be the focus of our energy now going forward. As for talking about the council itself, I think that's already done. What you need to do is focus now on the likes of the audit office and on the likes of the Northern Ireland Public Service Ombudsman.
What about yourself, Dean? Do you see a system, that's the system, that's the state that we're in, that's the way it goes, or can it be reformed, or can it be cleaned up any, or what's your experiences?
Well, I think it absolutely can be reformed, and if you look at the Public Accounts Committee report, and it's an absolutely brutal report on planning in Northern Ireland that came out in March 2021, there's nothing redeeming in it. But what is in it is a lot of the evidence that we provided as the gathering, and indeed our evidence is reflected in the recommendations. For instance, we've been campaigning for quite some time to change the system, and I've even been to Geneva on this in front of the United Nations, and there's been real resistance to it, to have what's known as equal rights of a planning appeal, where a developer gets refused his permission, he can appeal it. If he gets approved and he's had conditions he doesn't like, he can appeal it. If he gets asked for an environmental statement, he can ask for a hearing. But as a member of the public, if you object to something and they go ahead and approve it, you can't appeal it. But coming out of that Public Accounts Committee and the pressure that we put on, there is a recommendation now that the department reconsider changing the law to introduce equal rights of appeal. Similarly, with the case that I took to the United Nations, there's a recommendation now from the Aarhus Convention's Compliance Committee, a body of experts in environmental law, to say the UK must change its law in respect of allowing environmentally harmful developments to become immune from enforcement action. So you can change elements of the system. Just going back, I wouldn't mind sort of adding a wee bit to what Paddy was saying about the toll that it takes. I think I'm almost immune from it now, because I'm experiencing those sort of I suppose stresses and threats a lot of the time.
You actually say there's threats?
Well, I mean, not direct threats, but
if there's a perception that there's a threat, they're perceived.
Well, I suppose
if there's a
direct
perception of a threat, then there's actual threat. You know what I mean? If you feel threatened.
Well, no, that's true. I mean, things like if you don't withdraw this, we'll take further action. That was something levelled at me on behalf of the Minister for DFI after I raised a concern about how the judicial process was corrupted, and this is another case, not the Derry Strabane, was corrupted by false and misleading evidence, and that's the case that went before the United Nations as well. So there was, if I don't withdraw this, they will consider further action. Whatever that means.
You're sitting feeling threatened, going, what are they going to do?
And of course, well,
they're going to take me home, they're going to take me property, I'm going to end up in a suitcase having killed myself and then zipped it up, or what? Where do you draw the line?
Well, you do, but I mean, if you know you're right,
you'll plough on.
Yeah, exactly. But where I do take a real exception and get very angry about it is other people in the gathering that are maybe individuals, or they're campaigning and they get something slightly wrong, and then they think, my God, am I going to be taken for defamation? Am I going to be sued? Am I going to lose my house? And I mean, this is serious. You do have I'm not going into any individual cases, but you have people worried about their mental health, their well-being, their life, their house.
And I suppose at the Galler Apple, the fact that there is a lot of people there able to bunch off in safety in numbers. We before we put this out last night, we asked for a couple of questions from people. I think we have about 5 minutes left before. One of them was, given the nature of the failed political system here and inherent distrust of it by a significant section of those who live here, how do you encourage / persuade people that is the right thing to do? And what is the difference between whistleblowing and grassing? You can see where they're coming from there. What with the culture here of the system, what's the difference, Paddy?
Well, there's one major difference. First of all, when you're touting, you're grassing, you're doing it for your own benefit. When you're blowing the whistle, you're doing it for the collective good. If you take say any case of whistleblowing, but say we'll go outside and we'll go to the Mid-Staffordshire Hospital Trust, where upwards of between 500 and 1,400 patients had died unnecessarily. And that took a whistleblower to come forward to highlight that.
It's not a grass. It's
absolutely not.
You're going to add that.
Yeah, it's about protecting the public interest. It's about protecting the public purse. In fact, all the blurb from the audit office or whatever on whistleblowing does say that you should not suffer if you're raising this in the public interest. Now, that protection exists for civil servants or public servants, but it doesn't exist for external whistleblowers. But nonetheless, if you're raising, you're acting in the public interest. You're trying to prevent something happening. The classic case again was that, like most recently, that Bronchiers case with Indira, the vet that blew the whistle on animal cruelty and effectively was forced out of her job for it. Now, the good that that's done there is it has highlighted that toxic
but the conditions,
behaviour and conditions within Indira itself. But
within the system, but
it will hopefully have improvements now for how animals are treated right across the country.
And also giving a bit of hope to people that whistleblowing can work.
Totally, absolutely.
There's another one here, and it's about the former Derry City Staban District Council Lesna Galvin Leisure Centre site, where supposedly separate bids, both of them over £500,000, were separated by a pricely sum of 99p. You know, you don't have to be a genius to say there's something smelly and fishy and that. Whatever happened, that there was promises they be. What do you suggest about that?
Well, I don't know what I wouldn't have any insight into what happened about it, but I have a very strong insight into what should have happened about it. That would be very clearly termed what
red flag.
What they ought, what they
red flag, siren screaming,
an indicator of potential fraud, and then more recently in their latest publication, Planning Fraud Risks, a red flag that required some proper investigation. I don't know if that actually took place. But
I'm not aware. I think I should probably, in my case, I should be aware, but I think there was a bit of jumping up and down. But again, a lot of stuff gets kicked down the can. Folks, I think we're at our end here, and I have to say it's been thoroughly enjoyable, very, very interesting. We need to do this again. There's a lot. Dean Nagallern, we need to get them in, we need to have the conversation.
I think we could have had a whole conversation on each of the points, never mind trying to get through all of them in an hour's time.
So hopefully we will get you back and we will keep at it again. Garamaya off, and thank you very much.
Thank you.